Sadly, the climax in this movie is really a typical Tuesday for our students here in this country. Lesson of the Evil, released in 2012 and is directed by Takashi Miike, who has also directed such films like Audition, Ichi the Killer, Gozu, One Missed Call, and the Dead or Alive trilogy. And this is a Japanese horror film, so I'm going to read the cast list here, and it's going to be very, very bad, but please know I have good intentions behind it. I'm trying my best. Be nice in the comments. Here we go. This film is starring Hideaki Ito, Takayuki Yamada, and Mitsuru Fukikoshi. Yep, that was bad. And the reason why we're talking about Lesson of the Evil today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from one of my subscribers and contributors on this channel for a very long time. Name the stars. Thank you very much for this recommendation. You've sent me so many. This was a part of several bundles that you've sent me, I think a while ago. And I'm finally getting around to it. I finally found a version of it that I could watch the English subtitles for so I can know what's going on. So, yeah, this movie happened. An English teacher named Hasumi is loved by all of his students and for the majority all of the faculty of his school. Little do they know, though, that he is actually a serial murderer. And as a couple of people in the school start digging into his past, the murderous tendencies in him start to slowly come out, until eventually it all builds up to one big climax at the school where Hasumi starts opening fire on all the students. Yeah, I wasn't kidding in my intro when I said that this was a typical Tuesday for students here in America. I mean, just look at the news, and hopefully you would agree with that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but yeah, watching this movie, it was very triggering. Thank God I've never been in that situation before when I was in school, but there are so many students in this country alone that have to go through training and safety protocols and have actually experienced a terrible, terrible thing like this, what happens in this movie with the climax, that this movie could be very triggering. And if you are sensitive to this, or if it is triggering for you, definitely don't watch this movie, because it was getting to me, and that hasn't happened to me in my life. And that climax goes on for a very, very long time. And I think that's the detriment that this film has overall. It's 2 hours and 2 hours and 30 minutes, and it does not need to be that long. There is a solid hour and a half, 2 hour film in here. I just feel like the director or the editors, whoever made the final decision, just didn't cut it down where it should have. There are many parts in this film where it slows down, the pace slows down, or we're told information that really doesn't play into anything in the end at all. There's actually some weird editing after the very first murder that we witness as an audience member, where we kind of get flashbacks of him dreaming and reliving the events of him learning how to be a killer and being with his partner. Comes out of nowhere, and it's really weird. There's nothing to tell you that, hey, we're going into a flashback sequence. All of a sudden, this guy randomly shows up at his rundown shit-ass house, and he's talking like, hey, bud, you want to go kill someone? He has his varsity jacket on, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Eventually, I piece it together and figure it out that, oh, okay, this is where he's learning to get rid of all of these evil, murderous tendencies that he has. He's a flat-out sociopath. He feels no emotion. He has no connection to anything. He does all of these murders and kills all these people, feeling nothing. No empathy, no regret. He doesn't do this for fun. This is just something that he does. And that's the scariest type of villain you could have. Instead of someone doing something passionately or doing something for emotion, to have someone do something without emotion attached to it, that's very scary to me. However, this film is listed as a horror film. I wasn't getting major horror vibes, I guess. If anything, it felt more like a slasher film. It's just he had a shotgun, really. Which I guess, are those the same thing? Is a slasher film a horror film? Can that be separate at all? I don't know. I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me. But Hideaki Ito, who plays Hasumi, he does a great job of really showing no emotion. That's a very difficult thing for an actor to do, actually, because that's what acting is. It is emoting and empathizing with someone. So to have a character that doesn't have emotion, it's actually very impressive when someone pulls it off well, and I think he does. And when we get to that climax where he is doing all of the actions of murdering all of these students. God, again, it's kind of triggering me right now, actually, just talking about it. But he's fantastic with conveying just pure evil on screen. I watch him go throughout the entire school looking for someone else to take out, and yeah, he just emits evil about him. Then the shotgun that he's using, because of his weird psycho-ish things and him going into flashbacks, his gun kind of sprouts a little eye, and it kind of looks like Sam Raimi's Evil Dead type effects on there, and he's like, you want to go kill some more? I really felt like Ash was supposed to come out with his chainsaw arm and take him out or something. Weird ass shit. And there's a lot of that weird ass shit in this movie that I feel don't need to be there. Like I said, this movie is 2.5 hours long. Really, that first hour, almost hour and a half, we're getting introduced to all of these different students, and we're kind of getting introduced to the faculty, in particular our main villain. But it is slow. It is taking its time, and I feel like we learn a lot of information that really doesn't play in to anything. Kid wants to go to a particular college. Okay, I guess that played into a kind of creepy-ass joke that happens later on, but okay. This is based on a manga of the same name, so I would assume that they were trying to pay tribute and do it justice of adapting it to the screen. I kind of want to go and read it. I think it's going to be very hard to find, though. But I feel like this film does have a lot of great things, and like the action scenes that we were seeing, the way he's taking out people, the special effects of him doing that, I feel like they were very impressive, and allowing us a little bit of time of getting into the sociopath's mindset of what makes him do certain things. There is a great moment in here, and probably my favorite thing of this entire movie is the callback to the two ravens that are flying outside and hanging out around his shit rundown home, and he's talking about the legend of Odin and how he used ravens, and these two ravens have names, and they're overlooking people, and when you see them it means something. I'm paraphrasing, of course, because I can't remember exactly what their names were or what they represented, but that whole thing actually comes back and plays into the very end, which I thought was great. That was a great callback. The film ends, though, with a to be continued, and from what I'm looking at, I don't see a sequel on here. So, is there a sequel? I'm kind of interested to see where this thing goes, and to see how he's able to figure out how to get out of what happens to him, because that's who this teacher is. He's a master kind of calculator in his head, I guess, of getting out of certain situations and making himself look like the victim. But until then, this is not a movie that I'm gonna go back and watch, probably ever. I think it's impressive in places, but I do feel that this film is overstaying its welcome, and I think there is a tighter, more cohesive vision and film, especially runtime, that we could find in this movie. I'm gonna give Lesson of the Evil 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part of my videos where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next. And the next one comes as a PayPal recommendation and donation from one of my subscribers and contributors on this channel, James Filbury. Thank you very much for this recommendation of Dante's Peak. This brings me back to my childhood. I remember my brother bringing home the VHS tape of this one because he watched it in class, in school, and he wanted us to watch it. And after I watched it, especially because my older brother was watching it, I just thought it was so cool, and I would watch this thing on repeat for a while there. I don't know how well it holds up. I feel like it doesn't. But we'll talk about it next time. So guys, if you've seen Lesson of the Evil, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before, and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button, and make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Dante's Peak. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.